everyone, welcome back to the Cupcake Jemma channel with me, Gemma, and it's an exciting day here at Crumbs and Doilies. Let's call it Crumbs and Doilies Towers for now, because it's the Crumbs and Doilies Christmas party tonight, and we need to make pudding for so many people. So you may have seen last year's video where we did our mega apple crumble for you guys, but also for the guys downstairs. And today we're going to be doing sticky toffee pudding, which is not only my favourite pudding of all time, it's little Nikki's favourite pudding. She's a massive fan, she's always making it. And you've probably seen on the channel we've got loads of sticky toffee things. We've even got a sticky toffee cake in the Crumbs and Doilies book as well. So if you are a big fan of it like we are, then make sure you check that out. Now, obviously, I'm going to be making it for like 30 people. Don't worry, you don't have to do that unless you really want to. I'll put all the right measurements in the description box below, but I'm going to make a start on the toffee sauce. So this is going to be going underneath the sponge and obviously on top of it, because it's not right unless you have extra sauce. Into your pan, you're going to need the following ingredients. You're going to need butter. This is unsalted butter. It's just cold from the fridge. I'm just going to pop that into my big saucepan. Oh, almost didn't make it there. Along with my double cream, or heavy cream if you are from not here. And then dark Muscovado sugar, as well as caster sugar, and then a good pinch of salt. So once all your ingredients are in the pan, you need to pop that onto a medium heat. That's the one. And then, obviously, I've got loads. So this is going to take some time to melt all the butter and stuff, but for you guys at home making a smaller amount, it should take 4 or 5 minutes to sort of melt and become liquidy, and you want to stir it every now and then just to make sure that it's all melting nice and evenly, and then bring it to a boil. And once it's boiling, boil it for about 4 minutes, giving it a stir every now and then with a spatula just to help the sugars dissolve, and then it's ready. Right, this is an awful lot of sauce for anyone, but I think I could probably just eat this with like soup with a spoon, but it is really hot right now, so do be careful with it. Now, I've prepared my tins simply by buttering them liberally all around the bottom and the sides, because obviously you don't want to have paper involved with a pudding because you're going to scoop it out and serve it, and the paper will get all soggy and it's going to be really disgusting. So just a grease would be great. Use butter if you can. And what I'm going to do here is a little trick I learnt from my friend Felicity Cloak, and she kind of basically came up with this recipe, although I've adapted it to my own personal preferences and made it more spicy and boosted the flavours. But what she does is she puts some of the sauce into the tin now and then freezes it so that it almost becomes a self-saucing pudding, sort of. So what you want to do is put about half of your sauce mixture into your pans, your greased pans. I'm going to do this very carefully because it's going to be very messy. So now all I need to do is put these into the freezer to at least set, if not freeze completely. Okay, so my saucy tins are chilling out in the freezer, so I can get on with making the spongy bit. Now, the first thing we're going to do is prepare our dates. So I don't know about you, but sticky toffee pudding really isn't everything it can possibly be if it doesn't have dates in it. And some people are a bit funny about dates, but I think they're essential because they add a really nice sweetness and a little nugget of surprise every now and then. You get a little bite of one, but you do need to soften them. So I have gone ahead and chopped my dates already. So you're going to need to stone your dates and chop them. I did mine in a food processor because I had like a kilo to do, so I haven't got time to be chopping things by hand. And I'm going to add some bicarbonate of soda to that, and that's just going to help to soften it all. And then I've just boiled a kettle and I'm going to pour that water all over the top. And again, all the measurements for the normal amount are in the description box below. And it is a very specific amount of water, so don't wing it. But as you can see, it's already bubbling up. And then just using a spoon or a spatula, just give that a little stir just to make sure it's all sort of evenly mixed. And then you need to leave that to one side. Obviously, it's very hot at the moment, but also it needs to do its thing with the dates. That is really hot and really heavy. Right, move you, slide you over. And now we're going to beat our butter and our sugar together, but because I'm going to be doing a mixture of Muscovado sugar and caster sugar, with Muscovado, as you can see, it can get really, because it's so sticky and molassesy, it can be a bit lumpy. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put the sugars in first and just mix those together briefly just to break up the Muscovado a little bit. All right, that'll do. I mean, it will still break up a little bit more once I put the butter in, but I just wanted to get rid of some of those big, big lumps. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put my butter in. This is soft, unsalted butter, nice and squeezably soft so that it beats up really nicely. Now, you're never, ever gonna get Muscovado to go light and fluffy like it would, like caster sugar would on its own. But you want to beat this at a medium speed until it is lighter and fluffier. That can take anywhere between 4 and 6 minutes. So when your sugars and butters are nice and fluffy, you can add the eggs. Now, obviously I'm using a lot of eggs, so I'm going to add mine 2 at a time. But with a smaller amount, say 2 eggs, I recommend beating up your eggs a little bit first with the vanilla just to make it liquidy, and then you can add that in a couple of batches, just beating really well after each addition. You'll notice that when you add the eggs, it becomes really lovely and silky and flumpy, and this is exactly what you want. Lovely. Now, I will admit that I didn't really think this through this morning when I was planning this video, but multiplying a recipe by 6 does mean that you have quite a lot of ingredients, and perhaps maybe relying on your old faithful KitchenAid is a bit ambitious, because I've realised that it's just not going to fit. We've still got loads of stuff to put in. I've been downstairs and I've got one of their spare, what we like to call Big Bertha bowls, because this is from our big planetary mixer, which we call Big Bertha. So hopefully it's all going to fit. So I'm going to have to transfer all of this stuff in. So, you might notice you've still got a little nugget here and there of Muscovado sugar. Don't worry, if this was like a light sponge, I would have said sieve it. But it's because it's so sticky, it's actually quite difficult to do. But if you have little nuggets of brown sugar, don't worry, because I actually think they are little pockets of deliciousness in a sticky toffee pudding. We're now going to add the dry ingredients. So I've got my plain flour here, and I'm going to literally dump that all in, along with my baking powder, and I'm adding some salt and some spices. So I've got a lovely sea salt here. Always try and use sea salt rather than table salt, because it really does make a difference to how it brings the flavour out. And then I have some cloves, and last but not least, a whole load of ground ginger. I've got all my dry ingredients in, and this is a bit tall, so I've actually got myself a little step so that I can fold this in. And obviously, you don't have to do this because you will be normal and not be doing this amount, but just fold this through. If you're using a stand mixer, just put it on the lowest speed, or you can still do it by hand, that's totally fine too. And when the flour's nearly all mixed in, you can add all the rest of your ingredients. So I have some chopped pecans here, and I've also got some stem ginger. That's the stuff that comes in globes in the syrup. You want to chop that up really finely. Then you can pour in all your date mixture, and I mean all of it, every last drop. Oh, it's very splashy. And then just fold it in carefully using your spatula. We got there in the end, guys, and it's lovely and loose, this batter, but obviously you want to mix it until it's lump-free in as much as there aren't any lumps of flour in, but obviously there's pecans and dates and all sorts of yummy things. Anyway, I've got my tins out of the freezer, and as you can see, the sauce has set. It's not frozen, but it's set on top, so that's perfect. That's going to all sort of ooze and melt as it bakes, but first I've got to work out how to distribute it between my tins without making a horrendous mess. So let's see how we get on. I'm actually a little bit afraid of this amount of batter, but you know what? Like, feel the fear and do it anyway. I've got to bake these guys, and it's not going to work in this tiny little oven, so I'm going to have to do it in the big guy. So, can she take 2? Just about. So I've already got my oven preheated to 170 degrees C, And I am going to bake this, well, you'll need to bake yours for between 30 and 36 minutes. To check it, you want to stick a skewer in, but don't stick it all the way down to the bottom because obviously you'll then hit the sauce. But when the skewer comes out clean, when stuck in the middle, they're ready. Ah, I can't wait. Oh, it smells so good in the kitchen. I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a mess in the oven because there was a lot of bubbling and a lot of oozing. But you know what, that's a-okay. So just ignore the little bits and bobs that are happening on the outside because what is the main thing is that this is smelling, feeling, and about to be tasting delicious. So I think I'd better have myself a little corner. Oh my goodness, this is like my dream pudding. And as you can see, all the lovely sauces at the bottom and the top. We are sandwiched between sauces. We've got a lovely spongy middle. And I can see bits of date and bits of nut. Let's do it. It's hot. Mmm. Yum. It tastes like a steamed pudding, even though it hasn't been steamed. I mean, maybe that's a skill that I've just acquired, but I don't know. It tastes so good. It's really moist. Sorry for all those people out there who don't like the word moist. I know there's a lot of you, but it really is moist, everybody. You've got every now and then a little sort of slightly chewy nugget of date. You get a little crunch from the pecan, and there's some really delicious spices coming through from the ginger and the ground ginger and the cloves. And oh, I mean, listen, normally I would also have custard with this, but there just wasn't time. But I wholeheartedly recommend that you have this with both custard and ice cream and cream. Why not? Go a triple threat. Well, anyway, I'm not going to eat any more because, as I said before, this isn't all for me. I haven't just literally baked 36 portions for my own self. I have to wrap these up. I'm going to rebake them in the oven when the time is right, just for like 10 minutes or so at the same sort of temperature, just to heat that through for the guys when the party starts. Speaking of the party, I'm going to have to get myself ready because I've got splatters of sticky toffee sauce all over my t-shirt. I mean, obviously, I wasn't going to wear this anyway, but I've got to get glammed up. I've got to tidy the decks. Leave me alone. And we're back, and we're here at the party, and obviously, I've dolled myself up a little bit, complete with Cupcake Jemma gloves, obviously, the ultimate accessory. But I actually need these because I've got to go and get the sticky toffee pudding out of the oven. Oh, hi, it's still with me. Oh my God, it smells so good. I just heated these up at like 170 for about 20-25 minutes. And I'm hoping they're going to be nice and hot. Oh, hello. You got to put sauce on first. No? What would you do?